You are at Lake Rant, where I rant about whatever my $10 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one is for Sonico, who said, I would love for you to rant about my favorite AMV content creator. His channel is GilLiesHere. This is a playlist of his AMV works. I think he is really unique and weird at the same time. I believe you need to see this and expose this man. Yes, I absolutely loved these videos. I binged this whole playlist. I resonate very hard with GilLiesHere's style. In fact, I found it pretty influential immediately in the sense that Gil looks at editing very differently from most, of what you'd consider AMV creators. And, someone like me, I take more influence from, Sakuga Mads and the serendipity of how images and music can link up, basically with ease because of the fact that you will create the connection between them in your mind, as long as it's the right combination of image and sound choice. And so you can create an emotional texture that's very unique without really having to do any kind of extra editing or anything. It's just by matching the right image and sound, and that's something that GilLiesHere does extremely well, but takes it to another level by adding more in, by actually, inserting either layering different songs on top of each other or inserting their own instrumentation or sound effects or, using sound play in unique ways, editing the footage in unique ways where, there's a lot of use of very stark framing and background elements of all white backgrounds or edited in live action footage of very obscure stuff. And it's an extremely minimal presentation with a lot of emotions. It's a way to use very sparse elements and something that's not necessarily that technically difficult to accomplish, but is portraying a very specific emotion that's captivating in itself. And of course, the choices of songs and clips are just all of them are amazing. They tell stories in in the choices made and the way that they're edited that are really compelling and unique and original. But the first video, Shinji is Not a Coward, it's essentially a Death Grips AMV set to Evangelion. So obviously I was going to enjoy this, but it's so interesting and well made and unique. It's not like any other combination of those two that I've seen before. So it's definitely a sight to behold. You've got most of them have very artistic titles as well. They're more framed as short films really than AMVs. They don't necessarily advertise themselves as Shinji is Not a Coward and Satoshi Kon in Memoriam are probably the only two that directly reference what anime and song, or not even song, what anime is going to be in the video. Most of them have totally other titles, but they use maybe even just a couple of clips in order to create a certain mood. And I just connected really hard with the messages. I mean, I worry about GilLiesHere watching these because most of these videos come from a very depressive place. And as somebody who, myself creates music largely to express more negative feelings, I really felt like these videos were coming from a similar place to where I came from with the Unknown Tape or something like that. There was this thing that Frank Jeff C said on the Needle Drop podcast years ago that stuck with me about how he thought that musicians needed to move into the audiovisual space, that they needed to stop thinking of themselves, their stuff as being divided from the visual element, but combine them. But ever since I heard that, I've been trying to think of the ultimate ways of combining those elements of finding really unique combinations. And it's interesting that you can do that even with plunderphonics. Essentially AMVs are creating films out of combining those things into new packages. And I feel like GilLiesHere really does that to a avant-garde level. So yeah, good stuff. Thank you for the recommendation.